This episode of Film Riot is brought to you by FreshBooks. They fresh to death. Welcome to Film Riot Mondays. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. My baloney has a first name.
It's OSCAR.
Mm-hmm. First question, I've heard a lot of YouTubers are switching to Final Cut from Premiere. Would you ever consider it? As of right now, I would say definitely not, but I wouldn't rule anything out in the future. I'm not a big fan of that software, what they've done with it, how it works. I know some people are. Personally, I do not like it at all, but as they progress, maybe it would be something that I would like more. Personally, I am definitely an Adobe guy, as you guys all know from all of our episodes ever. I love the way Premiere works. I love the way everything interacts with each other, and Premiere is really headed in the direction that I personally want to go as an editor. So how all their feature sets are working and everything works really well from what I'm doing, and they're just getting better and better. There are a ton of features that have been cut on that now. I know there was like a feature cut on Final Cut, and they're trying to get back more into the professional arena, but as of right now, I would definitely say no, but I wouldn't totally rule it out either. However, if you're just starting out as an editor, $300 for the software is pretty great. So for the price tag that it has, it's a great editor, but not the one for me. When you admit that every answer is, it depends, why continue MailSack? Also, the questions repeat and repeat. It depends is an entirely true answer, and you also get a lot of my opinion stuffed into that. And just because I say it depends doesn't mean there's not an answer there. It could be A or B, it depends on the situation, and that gives you some ammunition to then move forward with hopefully having some advice in your back pocket, depending on what situation presents itself. No situation in filmmaking is ever going to have one definitive answer. So it depends if behind door A is the color blue or door B is the color red. You know, if it's red, this is probably what you would do. Blue, it would be this way. There's so many variables in all these things, and even any of the mentors that I've ever had or all the friends that I have that I get advice from, that's the advice that I'm getting. The it depends advice, where you're getting different scenarios and different ideas and opinions behind those, and that has always really helped me. So that's the conversation that we're constantly trying to have, that hopefully it helps some people. Seems like it's not helping you very much, but hopefully it has helped some other people. The questions, as far as repeating themselves, we always pick the questions that seem to get the most liked or the most asked. Maybe some of them have repeated themselves over time because we've been doing it for that long, and we are going to do some different things with Mondays where it won't be questions every Monday coming here pretty soon. It'll be maybe every other or something like that. But again, hopefully this conversation that we've been having on Mondays has been helpful to some people. Is there going to be a Film Riot's Epic Summer 2016? I really hope your answer is yes. Film Riot's Epic Summer is definitely something that we're going to do in the future. It might not be called Film Riot's Epic Summer because I would love to remove the word epic from that. This year we're not doing something like that, but it is possible that we'll do something like that next year, or do different iterations of that general idea where we're taking a few different filmmakers and bringing them together in a short period of time so we can see the different process at work. I've always thought that that was incredibly beneficial, so it's definitely something that we're going to revisit. This year, that's not what we're focusing on. We've got a few other things that we're going to be doing and putting out very soon that we think you guys are going to love, especially focusing more on just the general, normal Thursday episodes, getting them back to what we think they should be, and you guys want to see as well. So back to sketches, back to innovative ideas and different ideas, jumping from sketch to DIY to review, all sorts of stuff. So we're hoping to bring everything up a notch. Like we said in an episode before, we know that the quality hasn't been to the level that we want it or you want it, and that's because we've been working on things in the background. But I think this year is the year that we're finally going to reap the benefits of all that background work. So again, thank you for sticking with us while the show kind of not flatlined, but wasn't quite where it needed to be. I think this year you're going to be pretty happy with what we'll be putting out. I'm super nervous about asking people to use their space for filming. Any tips on how to get over that? You just do it. Anything that I'm very nervous about, I just do it. It's like facing your fears, basically. I have stage fright, so I just do it anyway. Sometimes I don't. I still try to get away from that as much as I physically can. Like if I have to do a presentation on stage in front of people, I get like cold sweats and I start to have a little panic attack. If I have to do something where it's like a panel discussion, Q&A, that I can just do. I'm always nervous, but I can do that. But when it's like you're doing a presentation, it's all you and there's a keynote and I'm not great at that. So there has been times where I've just faced my fear and did it. Like the Creative Live thing we did, that was pretty terrifying because it was all live and we had to fill 18 hours and I was horrified to actually go do that. You know, it's all live. I could say something really stupid, and so I just did it anyway. And I mean, attacking any film that you're ever gonna do as, you know, a director, a filmmaker of any kind, if you're not nervous going in, that means you're not really challenging yourself, but you do it anyway. When you are super nervous, you just do it anyway. So, I mean, just start talking to people, expect that they're gonna say no, but guess what? No's not gonna hurt you. It's just a no. I made a short film 6 months ago and have gotten a lot of requests to make a sequel. What is your stance on making sequels? Do you think they can be done right, or should they be avoided if not already a part of a bigger planned story? I think it's totally possible to make a sequel of something that didn't have a planned bigger story if it's something where you want to continue that universe and it makes sense to broaden that story and continue telling it. I think the difficulty is you made a short film that's online and people have short memories. So you have a grouping of people wanting a sequel, but you shouldn't really be thinking about just that small group. You should be thinking about every single thing, trying to be as big and get as much attention as possible. So if I were to make a sequel to something that was a short film that was meant for an online distribution, I would make sure that that sequel would entirely be a standalone and would not need to know about the first one, because then you'd have to try to figure out a way to educate the audience that might be brought to this second one about the first one. So I would make sure that it was something that would stand alone, but still live in the same universe. But for me, as far as making sequels, I don't personally like making sequels. I probably would. I haven't done it yet. But so far, every short film that we've made, we of course get asked for sequels. But I think most of the time, I could be wrong, but I feel like what people are asking is make more of this sort of experience for me. I want this experience and connection that I had to this piece again. And they call that a sequel, because if you make another one based on this thing, they might have that experience again. And I think that's why sequels happen, where really they're just wanting to be engaged like that again. So for me personally, I'm always just thinking of stories that are gonna engage an audience and give them that experience again. Not necessarily a sequel. And I'm also a little ADD. If I've done thriller, then I want to jump to comedy, and then I want to jump to sci-fi. So I don't really like following stuff up or revisiting a style that I've already tried. I like to try different things. But that's not to say I wouldn't do it if I had, if I was excited about extending that idea, I absolutely would do it. If you're doing freelance work or have a business on the side or running one full time, you need to know about FreshBooks. FreshBooks is the online tool that makes life way easier when it comes to invoicing, getting paid, and tracking your expenses. It's the absolute easiest way to get your accounting done, and super fast. Your clients can pay you online, your expenses are tracked automatically, and all the little details about cash flow are in one place. Using FreshBooks time tracking is also a huge help when it comes time to invoicing. You'll know what you did, when you did it, and who you did it for. And they just launched a new feature that allows you to get paid upfront with deposits, helping cover costs of projects up front. You can even see the full history of any invoice, and you'll know whether your client has looked at that invoice or not. So head over to freshbooks.com/FilmRiot, and don't forget to enter FilmRiot in the How Did You Hear About Us section. So that's it for today, which means it's time for my suggestion of the week. This one is The Revenant, A World Unseen. It's a documentary revolving around the making of The Revenant, has some BTS, talks about issues revolving around that film, and it was shot by my friend Ryan Booth, who also DP'd our short film UFO Yeah. It's a beautiful documentary and very interesting, so check that out right here. And until next week, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.